Some of these people are disgusting beyond belief. And I'm talking about politicians and their family and those behind them that want them to run for office. For whatever reason, they want to support that. In the John Fetterman situation, it's very ugly. His wife, Gazelle, is calling for NBC to apologize following the interview. This is the big interview. I did a whole thing on it on the channel a couple of videos ago. You can look it up anywhere. Search Fetterman NBC interview. And she's complaining about an interview that was actually a puff piece. To me, the interview set it up where John Fetterman could test his technology. He had never tested that technology before in a sit down that went public. So that was the first time we saw it. They did the intro to it, a graceful, kind of kind intro to nobody knew how bad his situation was until we saw that sit down interview. He's supposed to do a debate. I don't think he is, but if he does, at least he practiced with the software. He can work out some of the kinks. They can work out the kinks, whatever they're doing with it. I'm not a Fetterman supporter at all, but the interview was to help him. And then on top of that, it made him look like a sympathetic figure. So they're also helping him make him look like he's almost like a baby puppy, or he's like a puppy or something that you want to hug. Wearing his sweater and his shorts. It's a good marketing scheme. So they helped him with that. And just in case he wins, you can't have him win and nobody knew he was using this technology. So that was also preemptive. Just in case he wins, you can't say nobody told you. So after all that, she wants NBC to apologize. And you know what it really comes down to? Because Gazelle, I think Giselle knows that interview was good for those reasons. And there she is right there on the right. What she's really upset about was the off-script comment. The off-script comment that I played where she said there was the interviewer was Dasha Burns. She said in small talk, she wasn't, I'm paraphrasing, she wasn't fully, she wasn't fully convinced that John Fetterman knew what she was talking about. And that was kind of like an ad lib, it looked like. That wasn't a part of the script. So she can't have that opinion. And look at this. They're trying to, she's literally, Giselle is really trying to get her fired. Giselle says that this is an ableist comment. So if you go and look at her comments here, Miss Burns said during some of those conversations before the closed captioning was rolling, it wasn't clear he could understand what we were saying. And then here's what Mrs. Fetterman said. If this happened in a school, if this was a child that was ableist toward another child or teacher, so she's comparing a guy running for one of the most powerful positions in our country to a random child in class. Is that where you're at? You're hurting John Fetterman. Somebody get her to be quiet, because this is very evil to try to get her fired. She said in another interview or podcast, she was like, well, there's no consequences. Why have there no, I'm paraphrasing, like there haven't been any consequences for the interview. And the only part of the interview she could be complaining about is that beginning part, because the rest of it, they wouldn't even let go out if it was that bad. That was the point of the interview. If this happened, and notice they're not talking about the doctor part of it, where she asked multiple times, you haven't released the records. We're only going to have to take your word for it if you don't give us anything else. She didn't even talk about that part because she knows she can't. The only part she can talk about is the small talk comment in the beginning. And you're the one making the big deal about it. If you didn't make a big deal out of it, nobody really would be, other than MAGA. So this is just stupid. Somebody get her to calm down. It's evil. It shows you what these type of people are. You're the one that's propping him up to run for Senate, not Dasha Burns. She's just doing her job, and you try to get her fired or have people apologize to you. For what? What do you think this is? You think they work for you? Maybe there is. Who knows? I'm going to assume that they don't, and that's way out of line. She said, Mrs. Fetterman said, if this happened in a school, if this was a child that was ableist toward another child or teacher, there would have been issues stated. There would have been new training done. She told The Independent in an exclusive interview, what is being done at the media after a reporter came out so openly ableist? What kind of term are you talking about? Ableist towards a person. I think shocked and appalled, but sadly not surprised. I know there's still so much to do, but it would be great to see some accountability, to actually see real change. Same thing they do with anti-Semitism, same thing they do with racism. Just replace the word ableist to it. You can't criticize Kamala Harris. I'm shocked and appalled by somebody openly racist toward Kamala Harris because she's a babbling idiot. That doesn't make me a racist. That doesn't make me ableist to say, as my perception, he struggled in our small talk. That's not ableist type of discussion. So we can't criticize his mental acuity at all. Mrs. Fetterman has been married to Mr. Fetterman since 2008. Since his stroke, she has become a major surrogate for him. She said that she was worried about the damage the interview would do for the disability community. Do you think she cares about the disability community? What evidence outside of your own husband getting wrecked for him being fit for office, not as a personal person? Everybody wants him to be okay. Nobody wishes anything bad to happen to John Fetterman. People are just saying he's not fit to run for office. We should be able to say that. It has nothing to do with the disability community. Greg Abbott, nobody talks about Greg Abbott like he can't do the job. It's what's up here. He's not deaf. He can't comprehend things. And I would love to see an apology towards the disability community. What is the disability community? They just make up all this stuff from her and from her network for the damage they have caused. So you see, she wants to say, whoa, it's not me. I'm doing this for the disability community. No, you're doing it for you, self-centered. The second lady of Pennsylvania said that she has heard from other people with disabilities about their difficulties asking for accommodations. What does it have to do with whether they are fit or not to run for Senate? Love my parents, family, loved ones. I love myself. I would not fit to run for Senate. It's just not my expertise. And can you communicate well enough? I mean, if your grandma's 90 years old, it's not ableist to say, no, you shouldn't. If you look at Nancy Pelosi and her slurring her words and not making any sense, and you look at Joe Biden as well, slurring his words, not making any sense, it's not ableist to say or ageist to say, bro, you can't do this job anymore. Giselle keeps on going. She says, we have received so many messages from folks who said, this is exactly why I'm afraid to seek accommodations. This is exactly why I'm afraid to pursue a different position because of exactly what your husband has gone through. It was one interview with no strong criticism. So I think because a strong criticism would be, this guy's clearly not fit. That would have been strong criticism. And if she wanted to say that, she could have said that. So I think he's shown what he's experienced, but a lot of people saw themselves in him. So they're going down that route. They say it enforces stigma. And I'm going to say this. We can't allow these isms to be used as weapons or as shields. In this case, it's a shield. You can't criticize John Fetterman. Oh, so do I need to ask you, Giselle, do I have to ask you how I can criticize him before we do it? Lay out the parameters. Is his mental cognitive ability, is that off the table? But is it on the table for Oz? I don't think they're going to debate. There's no way they're going to debate. They've probably laying the groundworks of pulling out and saying, whoa, this happened, that happened. How is he going to debate? Even with the machine, his responses are tough. Even with the machine, you're not sure if they're canned. Even with the machine, you're not sure if he understands. So her trying to prep people, Dasha Burns, basically to me, she was trying to prep people before the interview dropped. be ready. It's rough. Giselle, your comments here are utterly disgusting and they're reprehensible. You don't need to force people to apologize. You don't need to call for consequences. Your husband's running for office. Back him if you need to, but you don't need to take other people out to do that. That's how evil this machine is. That's why I've been promoted to Ultra MAGA. Visit middlemaga.com. That's where I have my gear, multiple videos. I did a video earlier on Minneapolis that won't be on this channel. You got to go there. I did videos on other channels. Go to middlemaga.com. Thanks. Let me know, like, if that was your husband, would you be pushing them out there to run for Senate? If you did push them out there to run for Senate, would you be able to take very slight criticism like Dasha Burns provided? For me, if that was my loved one, I wouldn't have them out there running for Senate, number one. And if they did, I would defend them, but I wouldn't be throwing anybody under the bus for the legit criticism. I have boundaries within my principles and moral foundation. They have none. Let me know what you think.